Just a week before the savage killing of 2 Indian soldiers, Lashkar-e-Taiba chief and the mastermind behind the Mumbai attacks, Hafiz Saeed, was at the LOC, which is bordering Poonch in Jammu. Reports say he was there to incite Lashkar's border action teams to step up activity along the line of control. The border action teams are believed to provide a helping hand to Pakistani army regulars. So that's the report coming in. Jamaat-ud-Dawa chief Hafiz Saeed was along the LOC in this particular sector where the ceasefire violation took place. Javed Ansari now joins us from Lahore with more on the story. Javed, we know Hafiz Saeed gets a free run in Pakistan. He makes hate speeches very often. He was doing exactly the same thing just a week before these brutal killings of Indian jawan just along the border in this particular sector.
Ruchika, in my conversations while I was interviewing Mr. Kasuri, both Mr. Kasuri and several other Pakistani leaders that I've spoken to have been saying that what has happened cannot be the handiwork of Pakistani army regulars or of the Pakistani army. He says armies do not do this. They are not trained to do this. They never indulge in such things. He cited the example of several wars that India and Pakistan had fought, and he says there's never been a case of either side brutalizing or mutilating the body of their opponents. And I asked him specifically whether he then meant that there were non-state actors like Hafiz Saeed or the Taliban which was involved. And while he did not absolutely categorically name them, he certainly came very close to doing that. So there are many people in Pakistan who do believe that this could probably be the handiwork of elements who are known of terrorists, of elements who are known to launch terrorist attacks against India, and not of the Pakistani army.
All right, let me quickly go across to our strategic affairs editor, Gaurav Sawant, who now joins us on the phone line. Can this claim by the Pakistani politicians be taken at face value, Gaurav, that this could be a handiwork of non-state actors, considering that the Indian army actually feels that the attack has a clear stamp of a special Pak unit? The presence of Hafiz Saeed could be significant, but the role of Pakistani army is there.
Ruchika, there is almost no difference between the Lashkar-e-Taiba and the regular Pakistan army. The Lashkar-e-Taiba, according to Pakistan Army generals, is a force multiplier. The Pakistan Army Chief General Ashfaq Parvez Kayani and Hafiz Saeed, they have broken bread several times together. So, this is just a charade that Pakistan says that it could be non-state actors. There is no difference between non-state actors in Pakistan. As far as Pakistanis saying that, Pakistan army does not do this, whether it is the case of Lieutenant Saurabh Talia in 1999 and on those heights in Kargil at 14,000 feet, there are no Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists. That was the act of Pakistan army with Saurabh Talia. There was another incident where Pakistan Army SSG commandos, as you rightly pointed out, there is a special unit. It's a special elite commando unit of the Pakistan Army that has beheaded Indian soldiers in the past. And if you remember, Ilyas Kashmiri was a part of that unit who later became a terrorist. He had beheaded an Indian Army soldier. And so Pakistan Army has a history of doing this. They've done this at least 6 times in the past, which is duly recorded by the Indian Army. As far as Lashkar-e-Taiba and Hafiz Saeed being in that region in Poonch a week ago is concerned, yes, there is an intelligence report. He was there. That intelligence report also says, Ruchika, that he interacted with Pakistan Army regulars when he was there. So, the thing about this border action team or bad action team as they're called is that terrorists and army, they operate together. They anyway train together. It's the Pakistan Army which had trained Kasab and the other 9 terrorists. It's the Pakistan Navy that trained them. So it is increasingly becoming difficult to differentiate between Pakistan Army regulars and these so-called non-state actors. These so-called non-state actors only give Pakistan deniability. They are trained, armed, funded by the Pakistan Army regulars, and they use the same weapons that have been provided by the Pakistan Army, Ruchika.
Very, very interesting. Gaurav, just stay on with us. Shivarul also joins us on the phone line from Meendar. In fact, he joins us live from Meendar, reporting there on the developments in the investigation as they're trying to figure out, piece together what really led to this. very significant developments that are now coming to light, Shiv. Hafiz Saeed was present along the border in the same sector, inciting passions again, calling for jihad against India just a week before this the ceasefire violation in the Poonch sector. And this again brings into focus what India has been talking about all along, the military jihadi complex in Pakistan.
That is correct, Ruchika. Intelligence agencies are confirming to us that Hafiz Saeed did in fact visit, the corresponding areas just across the line of control from where we are right now in Mendar sector in Poonch, just about 1 week ago. Remember, his native village happens to be in that particular area, very close to Kotli, which is one of the places just across the line of control from where we are on the Indian side here. Like Gaurav said, this was a visit that was garbed as a private visit to his native village. But what we're hearing, and Gaurav is right when he says intelligence agencies are confirming that he did in fact interact with Pakistan Army regulars. He did in fact even possibly visit a forward post and meet meet and interact with the border action team. Now, we cannot confirm if he was actually there to meet the people who were involved in this particular attack that happened on Tuesday morning, but that obviously cannot be ruled out. And it is a continuation of visits by Hafiz Saeed and people from his organization, interacting, because it is becoming increasingly difficult to distinguish between Pakistan Army regulars and people from the Lashkar-e-Taiba and other terror outfits, considering that the border action teams are actually hybrids containing people from the Special Services Group, regular infantry troops that are forward deployed from the Pakistan side, as well as as well as jihadists as well.
Stay on with us, Shiv. We also have strategic affairs expert Commodore Uday Bhaskar now joining us this morning on Wake Up India. Commodore Bhaskar, how significant do you think are these reports that are now coming to light that Hafiz Saeed was present in the surrounding area just a week before? We know that he gets a free round in Pakistan. He was visiting some of the forward posts just a week before this massive ceasefire violation, which is being termed as one of the worst in past over a decade.
I would characterize this as quite significant, because I think, as your report was pointing out, for India the abiding concern has been the linkage between the Pakistani military regular elements and the umbilical, or the way in which they have nurtured some parts of the non-state entity, which I think is a euphemism in the case of Pakistan. And Hafiz Saeed and the LET are very, very representative of this linkage, the seamless linkage between the non-state and the state. And at this point, I would still urge a little bit of caution and say that these reports that have been emerging about Hafiz Saeed having visited the LOC near Poonch is something that I would imagine India would share with the Pakistanis, and we talk about what is it that is causing this concern. And that leads us to the second part, which is that the mutilation of bodies and what this does as far as the bilateral relationship is concerned. So, yes, quite significant and needs to be followed up, I think, very rigorously.
Right, but we heard the Defence Minister yesterday say, Commodore Bhaskar, that there is clear evidence of Pakistan's involvement, the involvement of Pakistani troops in this case. So is this going to muddle waters further when we talk about how there could be non-state actors involved in the ceasefire violation?
I think definitely, the waters are already very, very roiled or muddied because of the incidents that have happened over the last few days. And my own reading is that within Pakistan, clearly, there seems to be a certain attempt at trying to either distort or impact the bilateral relationship, which appears to be improving on other fronts. Now, this linkage between state and non-state, Ruchika, yes, at this point, I think the Ministry of Defence has taken a certain position as far as the ceasefire violation is concerned. That's one aspect. But to me personally, I think the larger kind of issue is really about the mutilation and the fact that this evokes memories of Kargil and what happened with Captain Kalia. And the way in which the Pakistani military or the state has completely disassociated itself or even denied that such an event took place is a sense of deja vu. That if you do not accept a certain reality, then where is this particular dialogue going, or what is this discussion all about? So I think that is the outrage in India at this point So I think this non-state and state and the kind of deniability that has become a Pavlovian kind of reaction within Pakistan is something that India would have to, I think, assess and see how we can deal with this complete obfuscation of a given reality. So I think that is going to be the challenge for India in the coming days.
Right. Comrade Bhaskar, we've seen how Pakistan's trying to internationalize the issue. It's talking about how there should be an intervention from the third party. The UN could probe, virtually giving itself a clean sheet in this entire case. What should be the Indian strategy? You were talking to us earlier about how there needs to be a calibrated approach, no knee-jerk reaction right away. But how significant is also piecing together what really transpired, what really happened over the past weeks, days and months, and put it out at the international fora to embarrass Pakistan?
Well, my own reading, Ruchika, is that as far as the LOC and any kind of violation, India has taken a consistent position that this is bilateral, and we have not been supportive, or we have not been very, shall we say, receptive to the idea that there would be a third-party intervention, whether it's the UN or otherwise. That is a position that India has maintained for a very long time. But I have a slightly different take on this question of mutilation. And this may be a minority view, but I believe that after Kargil and the latest incident, India has a strong case to really, I think, bring this into the public domain to say that Pakistan is in violation of commitments to international conventions. The conduct of war, how militaries are expected to discharge their own responsibilities, even if it is in the business of defending your own country and engaging in killing. I mean, there still is a protocol. Now, we have a reality of the mutilation of bodies. That cannot be denied. Now, using that, I believe that India could make a case and create that diplomatic space to alert the international community that this is the outrage that has been generated, and this is not the first time.
Right.
We also have Kargil. So I think that is the area that needs to be explored. And this is not, to my mind, the equivalent of third-party intervention. It is a case of sensitizing the international community, and I would say even the domestic community, because a lot of people in India are asking, what did the government do on the Captain Kalia case? I think these are issues that we should be able to address now.
Absolutely. It's also important to end the apathy from the government's side, ensure there is tough action this time so that there is no repeat. Comrade Bhaskar, thank you very much for joining us this morning with your informed opinion, sir. We also have Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad now with us on the phone line. General Prasad, in your understanding, how significant are these reports that are now coming to light? Our defense correspondent Shivaru now reporting from Mendhar that LET Chief Hafiz Saeed visited areas opposite to Poonch just a week before the attack.
Well, I would subscribe to the view that maybe this is true, because initially, if you remember, around the 6th of this month, there was heavy firing by Pakistani troops, which included mortars and illuminating ammunition in the Uri sector, and where in a village, 3 of the Indians were casualties. 1 pregnant woman was wounded. The whole attempt was to infiltrate terrorists, the militants. Now, Hafiz Saeed has been trying to push the army, the Pakistan army, to further assist the pushing in of the militants into the Kashmir Valley and elsewhere in Kashmir. So this is something that he wanted to come and goad the Pakistan army to speed up or to further take aggressive action to assist in the infiltration activity of the militants. Consequent to what happened on the 6th, the Indian army replied back by fire. I believe 2 Pakistani soldiers one got killed and 1 got wounded. That's a routine thing that will happen, because if someone fires at your post, you're bound to return that fire. And this indeed was not only a ceasefire violation, but also a major attempt to infiltrate terrorists.
Right.
Consequently, on the 8th of January, what Pakistanis did was perhaps attempting yet another infiltration, and as a result of diverting attention, they tried to send in a patrol inside India, which laid an ambush. And they must be watching this for a few days, 2, 3, 4 days, as to how the pattern of Indian patrolling and the pattern of movement and the location of troops on the Indian side. And taking cover of the bad weather and fog and mist, they infiltrated inside India, killed 2 soldiers, and beheaded 1. Again, a very much Elias kind of activity, which he also had taken a head away. And obviously, this is to create a kind of a scare, kind of a fear with the Indian Army and with the soldiers of the Indian Army to say that, look, if you come and do anything to us, we do this to you. And this is not the first, second, but the third time in public domain that this has happened. I was also reading in a newspaper report today that a Sikh gentleman has been beheaded by a militant organization up in northern part of Pakistan. So this seems to be like a barbaric, antiquated mode of behavior. No modern day sensible army can ever indulge in beheading a dead body. So this is something that is now getting abundantly proved. If you look at today's newspaper, there is a Sikh gentleman, 40-year-old, who was kidnapped and beheaded. His head was taken away.
Right.
Now, this is something that is not tolerated.
Absolutely.
There are enough international forums. There is the War Crime International Organization. There is the International Human Rights
Absolutely,
Organization.
General Prasad. So will there be a proportionate response? We're just trying to piece together exactly the details of Pakistan's grim attack on our jawans. Reports now coming in that Jamaat-ul-Dawa chief Hafiz Saeed was present in some of those, he was present along those forward posts very close to the sector where the ceasefire violation took place.